Hey everyone, this is Tosh with Tactical Hyve, and we're going to talk about shooting platforms. Today we have multiple shooting platforms. So let me just go over the list of different platforms that we have to stabilize the weapon system for long-range shooting. Obviously, the most common is using your ruck as a platform to shoot from. Okay, it's soft. I recommend using one with a external frame because it's a little bit more rigid and you can get a higher location. So using the ruck. So the way to use the ruck, once it's full of equipment and stuff like that, it's a little bit more rigid, or you have an external frame ruck that will be an effective method for stabilizing the weapon system. That's probably the most common. Some rifles do and don't have ways to mount bipods, which leads into the next. So I have multiple bipods. I have a smaller bipod, and I have a larger bipod if I really feel like I'm going to be taking long shots from a lower position. Having that heavier bipod gives you a little bit more stability and more flexibility as far as being able to stable out a little bit better. Next one I'm going to talk about is the silo, or something to this effect. This is a really interesting thing, also made by Atlas at BT or whatever it is. Just look up the website. This is called the silo. It's a very interesting tool, and it's lightweight and small, so if you don't want to carry around extra stuff, you've got another platform to shoot from. And then the old school traditional sandbag. Okay, this is another system that old school method. Lugging these around, having multiple sandbags is very helpful to stabilizing out your long range weapon system. Next are tripods. So in the last few years, the technology, believe it or not, on tripods has gotten nuts. I mean, there are companies that are making specifically tripods for shooting and hunting. And they're really rugged, really lightweight, and you can get as crazy as you want, heavy or as light as you want, having a good tripod. So what I have here, I believe this is a Vortex. It's their super lightweight tripod. And this is the tripod I like to use because it is so small and so lightweight. It breaks down and it's really small. So for tactical, you might want something lighter. This is another, I don't even know who makes this. This was issued to me many, many moons ago. And it's a good tripod set up to take a Picatinny rail. It has multiple angles that you can adjust. The only issue I have with this bipod or tripod is the fact that it is so short. Now, it's great if you can get lower to the ground. This is a very, very good tripod. My only critique on this is there's no way really to make it more stable. If you look at the more traditional camera style tripods, you'll see this hook on the bottom. This hook is used to add weight, so it stabilizes that tripod a little bit better. And these are the two tripods that I use right now. Okay, so now we're going to talk about a little bit more information about each of the different devices. So I came across this a few years ago on the Atlas website. I was like, well, what the hell is that thing? So I called up Atlas and talked to him about it and read the little thing underneath that describes it. And it's a pretty interesting concept. It's great. So I kind of wish I would have had this overseas, because this tool does simple things you're going to find yourself doing if you do this professionally. So shooting from random locations that you need to stay with, you got to take a medium to long range shot, and you don't have a whole lot of time, and you got to get on the weapon system. Having this on your weapon system is nice, because what it does is when you put this on whatever surface, because it has this beanbag on it, you can level it out and get that to conform to whatever's underneath your weapon system, and then be able to take a shot. It's very stable. when you utilize that. The other interesting thing about this is they put this grip on the front of the device. So when you need to lean up against something, let's say you don't have a place to put your weapon down to stabilize it, you could actually push this part of the silo up against, let's say it's a door frame and you're shooting through a door frame, through a window, out to whatever area, and you've got to do it quickly. You don't have time to set up a system. You can take that weapon system, boom, put that part on that ledge and lean into it and help stable you out a little bit. So really, really, really handy tool. I recommend getting something like this. I don't know if there's other companies making these, but I know Atlas does. And this is a really, really useful tool. And it's about the same weight as a tripod, small tripod. So, and it's easy to take on and off. It's got a QD attachment. So if you've got a rail, you push that in, boom, that's your lock onto the rail. It's a real interesting tool. Okay, next, depending on the mission, right? Depending on the job, what you're trying to accomplish, I prefer, you know, the Atlas bipods, but, you know, get whatever bipod that works for you and that is sturdy and stable. Like, these are really rugged. You can beat the hell out of them, and you can use these in such a way that you can change the angle of how you want to set up the legs. So if you want more of an angle on it so you can really lean into the weapon system, the Atlas provides that. The legs pop out, right? They're real easy to extend out if you need to get a little bit more height, shooting at angles and whatnot. And if I got to carry a lot of extra gear, I'll probably just take this lightweight bipod for what, depending on the job, right? Right tool for the right job. If I know that I'm going to be taking long range shots, I'm going to want something that's a little bit more stable. And so I have this heavier duty bipod. And this thing's really robust. This was originally designed by Atlas for the 50 cals. So this bipod can handle that type of trauma. And again, it operates almost identical to the smaller ones. What I would say about your bipod selection, weight is always a factor, okay? But the number one factor for your bipod, if your bipod is not rugged and sturdy, it really isn't going to do you any good. So I'm a fan of Atlas. I think Magpul has come out with a line of lightweight bipods that are interesting. I haven't used them. I would test the durability on those and see how good they are. Another option, so on this particular weapon system, and just so you guys know, this weapon's been cleared. And then here's the last option. And they make this both for AR platforms and other different style of platforms. A bipod that's built into the actual rail system. Okay, which is nice about this is press the button, it closes up pretty quick, and it becomes part of the grip system. I would be cautious about, when I first got this, I was like, yeah, I don't know about it, but I shot it and tested it. It's pretty durable. It doesn't look like it. It does feel like it once you get it, but if you're looking online, you're like, yeah, man, I don't know if this thing works. I can tell you it's pretty durable and it works pretty well. Now, I haven't used it for the AR system. I don't know how those rails work, but for this Desert Tech, it works really, really well. All right, so let's talk about the Sandbag. To me, this is mission critical equipment for long range shooting. The versatility of this, you can use it as a rest for your weapon system in the front. You can use it like a monopod for the back of your weapon system to help stable out. And I recommend at least one of these in your kit. There are different sizes that you can get out there. I like to try to keep things lighter, so I just carry the one. But in all reality, you should probably have two of these in your long range kit. One so you can put it in the back, or you can stack it depending on the angle that you got to shoot at. This is super crucial to your kit. So this style, this is purely a shooting tripod. There's nothing, this isn't for cameras. You maybe can put an optic if it's got a rail on it, but this is solely for shooting. So it's really robust, really heavy duty. It's a pretty good, it's got really good T&E on it. The legs can extend out at different angles. So if you need to get lower, and of course, the wider you get, the more stable you get. And so if you're in anything other than standing, this is really, really a good tripod. But the main thing is that it's super durable, okay? The only downside to this is a heavy tripod. So I've only used it a few times just because of its weight, but it is a pretty stable, you know, if you're just going for the range for the day and you're going to do shooting from a seated position, this is a great tripod. I don't know who makes it. There's a bunch of other companies that are making tripods that are similar to this that are probably a lot lighter and a lot stronger. So I went with the Vortex tripod. This is the one I predominantly use. It's not the most stable. It is very stable for its weight. What's nice about this particular, it's quick to fold up the legs and extend the legs. And as you can see, it gets really, really small. So, and that's a really convenient package. The downside of this is it's not as stable as your standard tripods out there. And the traditional, you have to have a special attachment for your weapon system. Now you can go out and buy different heads for this that you can replace this head. They're making heads that hold the actual weapon system a lot better, not using the rail, but actually grip the weapon system. Okay, everybody, those are the most common shooting platforms that you're gonna find out there, and you probably should have in your kit for long range shooting. The ability to stand and shoot from a tripod all the way down to being able to take your ruck and throw your weapon on top of that and shooting from that platform. So if you like the content, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.